Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining us live here this morning on WSIC. Keeping it real with Brian Summers live here on this beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning here. And thanks for tuning in. Troutman, Harmony, Statesville, Mooresville, Lake Norman, Cornelius, surrounding areas here, touching parts of Wilkes County, Alexander County, Rowan County, and North Mecklenburg. This is Keeping It Real. I'm your host for the full hour, Brian Summers. On Keeping It Real here on WSIC, we are talking good things this morning. I am very excited as we're in the month of May. Of course, we have a really major holiday this month. All holidays are important here in our country for the freedom and those who gave their life for it. But we have some special guests here this morning. Every guest is special, but these guys are really special. And I just can't do I was telling one of them I really waited all my life to have this moment to maybe interview, talk to, or just kind of be in the shadows of one. And so if you know anything about exchange ever in Statesville or community activism going on here in the Iredell area, then you're going to know these gentlemen for sure. And one I serve on the board at Farrell's with. So I'm glad to have this morning live in studio from down Mooresville. They come up 77. Traffic wasn't that bad. Just getting out their driveway took 2 hours. No, just kidding. But I have Mr. Cotton Ketchy here, who's a legend in every way, and Mr. Paul Somerville. And Paul and I serve on the Farrell's board, just so that everyone knows. It's the second time we've had Farrell's in here, but most certainly if you ever remember Scan of Iredell, then you will know about Farrell's. And so Mr. Cotton Ketchy and Paul here this morning talking about a different cause that they've teamed up to work together on. And we're going to find out all about that as it's a Memorial Day weekend coming up. And so we know that the good patriots here in Iredell County and surrounding area, we really support troops and remember them for all the good things that they did in serving and fighting for freedom around the country. And so it's really, truly an honor to sit here and share this studio with two fine men, Paul Somerville and Mr. Cotton Ketchy.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. It's our pleasure to be here this morning.
Well, Paul, you told me about this project you got behind for Memorial Day weekend, and it's the inaugural project that you all are doing down in Troutman with the flags. Just kind of how did all this come about? Explain what it is and came up with dates, times, and all the in-betweens.
Well, in exchange, one of our programs of service is Americanism, and we work with veterans, we work with Richard's Coffee Shop and so forth. And I don't know, we just came up with this idea of doing the Walk of Heroes in Troutman, the Richardson Greenway that runs the length of the town, and we took it to Duck White and Emily Watson at the town of Troutman, and I got to admit, and I think Cotton will agree, they jumped on this thing with both feet. It is unbelievable the support from the town that we've received on this. So this is an inaugural, like you said, an inaugural event that's going to be on Memorial Day. We're actually going to assemble and install 250 full-size American flags along the Greenway on May 18th and the morning of May 19th. And they will stand there until Memorial Day. Memorial Day, we have a ceremony planned in the ESC Pavilion. I think that's the name of it,
yes.
ESC Pavilion in the park behind Town Hall. And we've got good guest speakers. I think General Malley is going to be our guest speaker. We're going to have live music. And even the town of Troutman is going to furnish 500 hot dogs.
500 hot dogs.
That got Cotton's attention, 500 hot dogs.
Somebody say hot dogs?
Yeah. But it's going to be a wonderful event. The acceptance of what we're doing in the town of Troutman is unbelievable, and we've got a number of businesses that have jumped on board for sponsorship to help us make this thing a tremendous success. So.
Well, that's just awesome. And it is the Evening Exchange Club of Lake Norman, Walk of Heroes, Remember and Honor. And I have to say that my father was a Vietnam veteran and served from 71 to 73. And so I have several uncles who also served in the Korean War as well as the Vietnam War. And so service and honor. And I came along in the time of the first Gulf War. Was in my third year of college when that started. But so service is extremely important, and I think to be honored and remembered, we just don't do enough in this country daily. I know to just always recognize and realize the impact of what these men and women who serve honorably, give back to their community and give to their country when they come home. And I think I'm going to take a moment here and kind of see if I can splurge, see if I can come and broadcast and do a remote when you all do it on the 18th.
Oh, that would be
so the 18th, I think that's a Thursday.
Yeah, we're going to start on a Thursday afternoon, like I said, assembling. Our flags are supposed to be in, I think, by the end of this week.
Perfect.
And here again, the town of Troutman, they are opening up their building, their parking lot, and
that's so important. And that is great that, I weekly here on this show and others share how much not just Iredell County, but our surrounding counties, we are really truly a community. And I'm all about building bridges. And this is one opportunity I see that for you guys. Yes, it's Memorial Day weekend and we celebrate and we remember, but it actually gives honor. And I think that with the flags you're doing Thursday the 18th, I'm going to make every effort to be there. And when you guys plant the first flag, interview you guys, talk to you, and come back and see if we can get a package together to air that Friday morning here in our news as to what's happening. I think that's something, as we, WSIC goes in a new direction, we are most certainly community focused. This comes right within our new creed as to being everywhere, reaching all communities, just very, very important. So remember and honor, this is great. So now tell me, can citizens purchase the flags in honor of a family member? Is that how it works? Go ahead, Mr. Ketchy.
It doesn't even have to be a family member, just in honor or memory of a veteran. And the flags are $35 each. And each flag that will be installed, there's going to be 250 of them. They'll be on a 7-foot flagpole. Wow. And there's a piece of rebar in the ground. The flagpole goes over top of it, and then the flag. And every flag will have the name of that hero on the flag. And when the ceremony is over on Memorial Day, the people can take their flag home and fly it in their yard.
Wow.
And we hope to do this every year. We're running out of World War II veterans. There are very, very few of them left. Paul's dad and my dad both were in World War II. And my brother was in the Army, and we buy a flag each year. We've had the Field of Flags the Noon Club puts on at the YMCA on July the 4th. So this is Memorial Day for another whole area who has not been able to take part before, the area of Troutman, where we're wanting to build an exchange club, and we can talk about that later too.
Okay.
But it's just, unless you walked among the flags and read the names, I don't think you can even think of how moving it can be for you.
Sure. And if you're streaming, we're on Facebook Live streaming. If you are on Facebook Live, you'll see the flyer comes up. It gives a lot of the information. Memorial Day weekend tells you when and where. From May 19th through the 29th, your flags will be displayed of your loved one's name and yours as a keepsake, and you'll have for the event along the Greenway there in Troutman. Flags will honor these heroes, and these are surely heroes. And so also I think that this is probably a first in this large part area of the county. I don't know if anything has been done to this magnitude. You're going to have over 200 flags put down. So, that's pretty...
Kind of start in front of the town hall and spread in both directions.
Okay. And the times for the event in the evening starting on the 18th is what time?
Right now we're looking, and this is subject to change because we're still pulling all the logistics together. But
and the weather.
And the weather. Glad you mentioned that. But we're looking somewhere early afternoon, and we can get back to you once we get the times finalized. And what we don't get completed on Thursday evening, we'll be back on early Friday morning on the 19th.
And so here's the most important. So to purchase a flag or for information on our site, you'll be able to see there is a QR code, but also an email. And that email is psomerville@gmail.com or call 704-677-6900 or 980-585-9946. And those flags are $35. I can tell you right now on the air, I will purchase two, one for my late uncle Larry Keaton, who was a Vietnam veteran, who was he jumped out of planes. It's apparent, yeah. So he did that, and then for my dad, Russell Allen Stevenson, I'll purchase one in memory of him. I won't be here that particular weekend, but I will be there on Thursday as you guys launch this inaugural event, and hopefully it'll become an annual one and grow in other towns. It'd be neat if we could have what you're doing there in Troutman take place in Harmony, Statesville, Mooresville, Cornelius, Lake Norman, all simultaneously on the same day, and these towns come and adopt doing the very same thing. I think that what you all are doing is certainly, we'll sit here a year from now, and this will become an annual event, and it would have grown. I seriously predict that for sure.
Well, speaking of Cornelius, I think you just mentioned them. We started a club a few years ago in Cornelius. It's North Mecklenburg Exchange Club, and they kind of teamed up with us on flag purchases this year.
Okay.
They brought in 50 flags, and they're going to do a breakfast situation at their town park on Memorial Day morning, and have this set of flags there, and that's impressive. Also, one thing I want to mention, and this is things that I've learned and really appreciated in working with these flag displays. Once we get them up, people start walking in the evenings and afternoons and so forth through the flags and looking at them. It is amazing the stories that you hear, the healing process that some people go through, the young kids that come along and learn something about patriotism and Americanism and so forth. So
our country, and maybe you guys are visionaries in doing this, our country so needs this right now.
We do.
Gosh, yes.
We need that spirit. I recently purchased a book over the weekend, Sunday, particularly David McCullough, Striving for That American Spirit. And I started digging into it, and it was everything about the exceptionalism of America, who we are, going all the way back, talking about from, pre-revolutionary time all the way up through history. And I've gotten a little ways into the book, but it really just had me to stop and capture and all the things that made me want to be a public servant, to go into politics and to go to D.C. as a staffer and be from here and get into history, particularly, were those things that captured, reading about Henry Clay, understanding about just the formation of our government and pride. And I think what you guys are doing here coming up Memorial Day weekend in Troutman kind of just re-energizes and infusions that American pride back again. Your flags are awesome. They're very, very nice, very colorful. I love the whole red, white, and blue. I wore my shirt today with the red tie and the white stripes because I said I had to, be patriotic, serve patriotic, and I wanted to look good too. So I mean, when I'm with guys who are as legendary as these guys are, I've got to try to, clean up a little while. So
come on now, flattery will get you everywhere.
How much we gonna owe him for that? I don't know.
You have to come back again and tell us about photos and some of your writings and all those good things. You really still have to. So again, it's going to be Memorial Day weekend. It is the Walk of Heroes. So who came up with that? How did that?
This thing.
Did y'all trademark it yet? Have y'all trademarked
well,
it?
no.
All right, get on it.
We were. I don't know. This thing just kind of wasn't any great plan.
Table at Troutman in the town hall, and it was going to be called initially, it started to be, first responders, everything else too. And we talked to a man from Lowe's, and he reminded us once again. The first time we ever had anything like this was in Mooresville in 2005. Paul and I kind of spearheaded that first Field of Flags, it was called. It was on Memorial Day weekend. And now all that had been moved to a July the 4th celebration, and celebrates all of the first responders, everything, firemen, and policemen and the EMTs and all that. But Memorial Day is meant to memorialize our veterans.
Absolutely.
Who have died and given that total sacrifice. And we was talking about Troutman, and they jumped on board of this. And also, you can order flags by going to Troutman's website, and they have a QR code in there, and you can fill out the blank and order it all right online.
Wow.
And you don't even have to do anything else but do that. And you can pay for it online and everything. But it's all Memorial Day, and it broke my heart a while back when we saw young people tearing down statues of George Washington and people like that. And they cannot fathom the sacrifice that George Washington made and his band of men who were, they said you could follow them by the blood in the snow because most of them didn't even have shoes. This is the sacrifices that were made for this country to succeed. And had it not been for people like those and those dedications, we would not have an America today.
So very true. And history matters. Our country, no country in the world is perfect. But as I always say, we're not perfect, but we're on the road to that. It's the pursuit thereof. We're headed down that road. We're in the pursuit of that perfect union, that perfect nation, that perfectness we may never obtain, but we're trying. We're getting there. We're better than we were 200 years ago. We're better than we were 100 years ago. And I like to, as a person to witness that we've come so far along. And you talked about George Washington. History matters. Crispus Attucks and what happened there in Boston. And then just 2 days ago, I heard about the Great Wagon Trail. An author came and talked about his book. And he talked about the times when, I didn't even know this, George Washington was in Charlotte, Mecklenburg County. Stayed at an inn there in Mecklenburg. And gosh, it escapes me to remember the name. But the gentleman who wrote the book on the Great Wagon Trail talked about that. And how, all of this history, and when Queen Charlotte, and so, we had the coronation last weekend, but right here in our own country, in our own backyard, this history matters, and that American pride, you guys are keeping it, you're capturing it, I think you're sharing it for the next generation. I would encourage all the listeners out there in WSIC land, News Talk area to really go to the WSIC site, look up the show. We'll have a link, if we can link to our website, your date and event. This flyer for sure will be on there, and encourage you, do this in the memory of someone who's passed away. Do this in memory of a loved one, a good friend. We know veterans, and so if we really want to honor them, we should let them see it now while they're still living. And we always wait until, and we talk about the past tense of life when it deals with folks. But, I stand up and raise my hand and thank you and shake your hand now for serving right now as we are today. And so it's very important. So, again, it's going to be Memorial Day weekend. It's the Walk of Heroes. I'm sitting with Mr. Cotton Ketchy and Paul Somerville. And we are just talking about here this great opportunity to remember in remembrance of our fallen veterans from all the wars. I'm to think about, you were talking about World War II. I had a great uncle, Joseph B. Lackey, who served in World War I. He was from Alexander County, and but he served in World War I. And so, I mean, that was the only person I could go back as far and see in my family who served. And so his grandchildren, they still have pictures and things. I think he brought a sword back home from World War from World War I that he had, and I'm not quite sure, but yeah. So just service matters. Men and women, they put their life on the line. They go out into the world to serve, and that's so important. So in this last couple of moments, we're going to shift a little bit. You guys are here. You guys became friends and have been ambassadors of the Exchange, the Evening Exchange down at Lake Norman. Talk to us a little bit about that. And, I'm going to ask the question, when are we going to get an exchange back here in Statesville?
I knew that was coming.
So, who wants to tackle that?
As far as the Evening Exchange Club of Lake Norman, Cotton, his wife Vicki, myself, who else is on the club building team?
Barbara Orr.
Beth Packard. We have built numerous clubs, some in high schools, the high school versions of it, and so forth. And anyhow, the Evening Exchange Club, I believe, is 8 years old now. And
when I was district president, we built 3 clubs.
Yep, and I think that was one of them.
That was one of them.
So anyhow, and to explain a little bit about Exchange is we have 3 programs of service, Americanism, and what we're doing with the Walk of Heroes comes under Americanism, but we do different things to help support veterans and so forth. We work with the local youth, and one of the things that we do, and we're going through right now, is we offer scholarships to Youth of the Year and ACE scholarship, and ACE stands for Accepting the Challenge of Excellence, and that's when a high school student has come through high school, has a good grade point average, and has been accepted to a college of their choice, having overcome medical adversities or just home life adversities and so forth. So we give scholarships for that. Community service, we work hand in hand with Feed NC, Christian Mission,
Soup Kitchen.
And there's a place called Home, which is battered women and children's substance. Our national project is child abuse prevention, and we are extremely fortunate here in Iredell County. Yes. We have a CAP Center, Child Abuse Prevention. Formerly it was known as SCAN of Iredell. We did a name change and a rebranding a couple of years ago as Ferris Parenting at this time, and Brian mentioned a little bit earlier that he serves on the board and I serve on the board, but it's a great outfit. So when you purchase one of these flags from us, that's where the money actually goes. It goes into these different programs of service. And I personally can guarantee you that every penny that we raise stays here in Iredell County in those different programs.
And one of the things that he talked about, one of our mottos is over exchange is unity and service. And another one is making our communities a better place to live. And that's what we strive to do.
Amen.
And I firmly believe in exchange. We're having our district convention for the state of North Carolina will be held in Mooresville on the last weekend of
May 20th. May 20th.
May the 20th. And we're looking forward to that. It's actually the same time that the Walk of Heroes is going on, so we're going to be working very hard.
Shuttling it back and forth.
Yes, we will. So, getting this convention done and the Walk of Heroes done, too.
Well,
and the national convention will be in Phoenix, Arizona in July. They wanted to wait till the weather got good and warm to have it in Phoenix. So
good luck with that.
Yeah, I'm driving to Phoenix.
Oh, wow.
And people are amazed at that. I had a lady ask me on Facebook this morning, "You're driving to Phoenix?" I said, "They have roads all the way out there." I said, "Most of them are paved." I said, "They've come a long ways." I drive all over America doing what I do.
We'll bring y'all up to speed real quick. Cotton does not fly in a commercial airplane.
I fly in hot air balloons. I fly little airplanes. I don't fly commercial because I don't like cities. And where do the airplanes land? In a city. And then you got to get in the car that belongs to somebody else and drive out of it. And I'd just rather have my own vehicle. And we usually sightsee. We've driven to 48 states and 7 provinces of Canada and doing my photography and stuff. And we do that when we go to these conventions. We use that as, I'm already there, so why not go see?
Got you.
You know, that's one of the benefits of exchange that Linda and I have really enjoyed is going to national conventions around the country, and we've gone to areas that we would never say, "Hey, let's go out here for a vacation." But we go to the different areas, pick up a rental car and what have you, and we got to tour the West Coast here a few years back.
I'm a little spoiled. I tell you, from years of traveling on campaigns, I have seen, and the Temptations, I've seen enough roadways and buses and tour buses. I am just convinced. Now, 5 hours from here to D.C., 6, but I fly it. I'm just so very spoiled to get in a plane and a seat.
Keeping up with you on Facebook, you still do a lot of flying back and forth to D.C.
Yes. Follow me on Facebook. I got about 5,600 people follow me every morning on Facebook.
Well, I'm one of them. I tried to be your friend, but they said, no, he's selective. Yeah, I had to learn that. You're right. So, well, good deal. Well, folks, you've been listening to the Cotton Catchy here and Paul Somerville, and they've been my guests here on Keeping It Real with Brian Summers. They have an event coming up, the Evening Exchange of Lake Norman. It'll be Memorial Day weekend. It's the Walk of Heroes. And so we all know the spirit that we had after 9/11, thinking about our country, reflecting on our country and how far we came, the freedoms we have now because of the men and women who laid down their lives to make this happen. And so that's what's happening. It's the Walk of Heroes down in town of Troutman. Thank you to Mayor Ross, T. Ross down there, Young, and Duck Wyatt. Thank you. Good Wednesday. We had a great day, and we'll move in the second hour. My cousin, the magician, the man himself, the minister, Andy Lackey will be coming up, and you'll all see the hair resemblance when he comes on. All right. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Back here at you live here on WSIC News Talk 1400. Brian Summers. This show is called Keeping It Real. And we're moving right along this morning. Thank you for this beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning here. Thank the good Lord above. And for the sunshine that has come into the studio here. Live, and no, it's not our bald heads. If you're listening live here on Facebook Live, we're on. I am joined by anyone who knows anything about happiness and joy and just spreading the good word and also making kids happy in their hearts and leap of joy with his talents, full of talents. Maybe say like a hat of talents. We're like a bag of talents when it comes to this gentleman. He is a leader in the community. He is a minister in the community. He is longstanding, and he has a heart for young people and is just an awesome individual himself. If you over at Western Avenue Baptist Church, you will know him. He stands out there in the crowd for sure. But he's awesome and great, and has a great community church over there at Western Avenue. So joining me live this morning here on News Talk, Keeping It Real with Brian Summers, is none other than the Reverend Minister, Magic Man. That's your new nickname now. But the Magic Man, Andy Lackey, here live in studio.
Hey,
and
good morning.
what a joy! Good morning, good morning, good morning. So we're glad to have you, and thank you for. We got this date finally here. We talked about it a month ago.
We sure did.
And I said, you let me know when, and we're going to have you on. We're going to plug it. We're going to plug it, and you're going to tell us all about it, because I think, as I remember last year, you were in the Civic Center, and it was the
Joy Prom.
Yes. And this year you have done something a little different. And you can give us the whole background as to when, where, and how. And this is this an annual event that goes on?
Well, this is the first time we've done it. This year's a Joy Fest, but we've been doing something every year. Trying to do one event a year. So we've tried to switch things up a little bit this year.
Right. So tell us all about Joy Fest. And look, this is the first time anybody brought me a bottle of water with their logo on there. That's pretty daggone. I mean, I'm impressed, man. I mean, of course, you're Lackey, so I mean, what do I expect? I mean,
we're family, right?
We do everything, right?
There
Exactly.
you go.
But this is neat. And I don't know if you can see this out there on the air, but this Joy Fest has a logo on there. It's pretty daggone cool. I'm not going to drink it. I'm going to save it.
There you go.
I've got a bottle of water from when John McCain ran for president.
Okay.
And there's still a little bit of water left in there. It's got his logo on there. Anyway, that just kind of took me there for a moment. So, but tell us all about Joy Fest and your heart and passion behind kind of spearheading this, being the face for this, and bringing awareness to everyone having access to be able to enjoy the idea of going to a high school prom, or just being celebrated, or just something outside of what we may not see typically every day. Tell us how and what this has done in touching your heart.
Sure, yeah. I'll back up a little bit and go back to years before when we had done the Joy Prom. Years ago, we had just I'd actually seen a newscast about a church in Charlotte that had done a prom for those in the community with special needs. And I thought, wow, that'd be great to have something like that in Statesville. So I talked to our staff at our church, and we decided to try our own Joy Prom. And we did our first one, I believe, in 2015. And we reached out to the community, and it was an overwhelming success. We filled up to maximum capacity. We actually had to move to the Civic Center to create more space, and we filled up every year there. And but basically, we just wanted to have an event where those individuals in our community who maybe don't often get the same opportunities as our regular students to have a prom and a night where they are made to feel special. They're made to feel to be the star of the show. And so that's how the Joy Prom came about. And we've done it every year, except we had to take a couple years off during COVID. We couldn't meet then. And we decided this year just to try something different, And the Joy Prom was great, but it was really a ministry just to those individuals with special needs. And what we wanted to do was to also minister to their families as well. So we decided this year to do an event that would not only have the special needs family member, but also brothers and sisters and moms and dads and grandmas, grandpas can come as well. And so what we're going to do is it'll be this year at our church. We have a brand new children's center. It's a beautiful facility, and we've got plenty of room. And so we're going to do a variety show. The event will start at 6 o'clock on Friday, this Friday, May 12th. And we'll begin. We've got a band that's going to play a few songs. We've got a ventriloquist, a lady from South Carolina. Her name is Tansy, coming in. And also I'll be doing a magic show as well. And so that variety show will take about an hour. Then we've got Mason's Ice Cream Shop. They're going to come, and after the show, they're serving these customized, gorgeous cotton candy ice cream sundaes for everybody. So and it's all a free event, and there'll be stations to get photos made and things like that. So we think it's going to be a lot of fun. And
you showed up without the Mason's jar and the cotton candy this morning.
I don't have it yet, so
we need samples here.
I apologize. I just have water.
That sounds awesome and amazing. And what a way to really, what a big heart. That's a big heart, because we don't often think of what is families and children of special needs. How do we have a celebration around and for them that doesn't make them feel in any certain way, but just really more of inclusion? You're like everybody else, and the fact that God has blessed you to be here and have you here. You matter so much. You're such a standout in so many ways. You're loved. and we can have a joy fest, joy prom. That's good stuff. So, and the ventriloquist. Okay, all right, and so I can. Okay, all right. So this is starting Friday at 6 p.m.
Correct. Yes.
Western Avenue Baptist Church.
Doors open at 5:30, and the show starts right at 6. Yes.
And this is in the family.
Yeah, it's in the very front in our
Okay.
new children's wing, and there'll be
New children's
signs,
wing.
so
Look
they'll
at
be
that.
pointing you out. It's a beautiful facility.
Oh,
and so
wow.
It's going to be yeah.
Okay, all right, okay. Now, have you all already dedicated that and opened it up? And
It's already
been in
yes.
use? Okay, all right.
We actually broke ground just before COVID broke out.
Wow.
And we were nervous, but sure enough, the Lord provided, and
Yeah.
we finished it on time.
Look
and
at that.
it's been such a blessing to our church family and the community as well.
When you have a cause and it is right from the heart, it is the intent, nothing can stop God's work. Nothing can stop
Amen.
God's hand. Nothing can stop, because of the joy of what you all are doing there within your church, your particular ministry, and continuing this and expanding it. Because, I mean, you said you kind of outgrew the Civic Center.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty big.
Well, I
degree.
mean, I don't know. We outgrew we were actually using Statesville Christian School gym, so we had to
Oh,
then
wow.
move to the Civic Center, which but every year we maxed out and I had to
Look at that.
And so it was amazing.
That
so,
is
yeah, praise God.
yeah, from this community. And so, previous guests we had on, we're talking about honoring Memorial Day weekend, and it was just I'm from here, so from Statesville, so. It amazes some people the amount of the giving that's in our community, the amount of people who want to share, give back, and help enhance our community in a greater way. And but I just think we talked about the American spirit in the previous segment, but that it's that Statesville spirit to a degree too. We really know how to come together. We really know how to work together, and it is a way in which I always say that I like building bridges, and this is one way, because it's on the show now today. And when you come back, next year we'll do it. We have anything in between, you can always welcome to come on here. Anything you have going on that touches lives, impacts lives, making a difference, Andy, it's just, we get up for it every day. We're volunteerism within our community, within our church. How long do you know, for you, number-wise, how many years have you all really been trying to do this for?
Well, the Joy Prom started back in 2015, but we have a ministry at our church. Actually, my wife and I had started many years ago when we moved back to Statesville and began attending Western Avenue. And that ministry is called Just As I Am, and it's a disability ministry. It was grown out of our own need for our own selves, because we had lived in Charlotte, and our oldest son, I don't know if I told you before, but he has special needs. His name's Drew, and he's the joy of our life. And
Cousin Drew.
he's 20. Cousin Drew. He's 26 now. But when he was younger, we were in Charlotte, and we attended different churches, and if you have a special needs child, sometimes the parents will feel a little uncomfortable just maybe leaving their child in the nursery or whatever if that particular department's not equipped to handle those with special needs, because you need some special training, special tools and resources and things of that sort. And it's not that these individuals wouldn't love our child or care for them. It's just they weren't equipped. And so we thought, wow, there's a real need for churches to be equipped, to have people who are trained so they know how to handle situations that may arise. And so we have been so blessed. We have Amber Spry is her husband is Jeff Spry, who's our senior pastor.
Absolutely.
And she's now heading up that ministry, and she is skilled and trained dealing with those with special needs. And so we have in our new children's wing, they actually built a new room just for our Just As I Am ministry.
Oh, wow.
And so it's got its own bathroom, and so we invite families to come, because they can drop their child off, and then they can go and worship and go to Sunday school and feel safe and confident knowing that while they're there, that their child is going to be loved and cared for and safe and protected. So it's a wonderful ministry.
Well, I was just going to say, what a testimony too of what you all as parents were experiencing. God placed it on your all heart to say, hey, we're going to meet an unmet need within our community, within our church, and then actually go out and get it done. And so wow, that is, again, that's why you're here, because Joy Fest, Joy Prom, it tells the story, it expands the ministry, it talks about just the who, what, when, and where, and how you came about, and the fact that you have this new area within the family center there in the church that people can go to and relate. And again, That's Western Avenue stepping up. And really simply saying, we realize that this is here, and all are welcome, and that's really it.
And you say all are welcome, and that's the point too. That's why we named the ministry "Just as I Am," because
I like that.
because we want people to come just as they are, and that's the beautiful thing about the special needs community is, like, if you go to our Joy Prom or you come to Joy Fest, our guests, our special guests, they come and they don't try to pretend to be someone they're not. They're not trying to impress anybody else. They're coming just as they are, and you get to see that beautiful raw honesty in their life and their personality, and and not only do we want them to come just as they are, we want them to know that God loves them just as they are as well, that they are valued, that they have dignity, that they were perfectly formed in their mother's womb, and praise God for that.
Hey, praise God. And you nailed it when you, just as I am. I mean, you think about it, our Lord and Savior accepts us that way. Mm-hmm. We go to him that way, even though we don't like to, and we find ourselves broken and sometimes coming out of hardships or situations, but nowhere else but he will accept us just as I am. The Just As I Am ministry. I like so many lives can be impacted just as, come just as I am. That and people can come from all kinds of walks of life and have that as a backdrop, just as I am. Mm-hmm. I mean, that'll preach by itself.
Amen. That's right. Yeah.
That'll preach by itself. And so, tell us how we can support. We're announcing you here today. We'll have this. We'll get this into our news, but also how much are tickets? Where can they purchase tickets? Yeah. And if I'd like to donate, I won't be able to attend. I won't be here, but I'd like to make a donation for a family that may need to or can or whatever. And you say, hey, nope, my good cousin took care of it. Come on in, and we'll go that way.
Well, our space is very limited. We're about at capacity now, but we do have some room, and you can go to our website. Our church website is westernavenue.org, westernavenue.org, and there, when you go to the front, you'll see a link to click for Joy Fest, and go there and you can register. And once again, it's for our special needs individual, but also their families as well. And as far as what it costs, it's free. It's all free. I mean, we have our church has been very generous with this ministry, and they want to pick up the cost, so this is given as a free event for everyone.
Look at that.
We've been very blessed in that way.
So please, out there, check out the website. Go to westernavenuebaptistchurch.org. Look at the events that are taking place. And if you would like to contribute to or just say a prayer for this ministry and what is happening there. It is in our neighborhood. It is in our backyard. It is in our community. They are our neighbors, and these children, these kids are loved, and we lift up and encourage the parents who tend for them, as well as the extended family. We always say life matters. It truly, really matters. And so what a great thing. That's pretty awesome. I like the ministry. That's awesome. So any other things that you all do? Is this your signature event?
This is our signature event for the Just As I Am ministry. Yes, it is. But once again, like as I said, every Sunday, we have Sunday school, and also we have workers there available during our worship time as well. So our special needs friends can join us then. Because I tell people all the time that I guarantee you, right now in Statesville, every Sunday morning there are families that are not coming to church because they have a special needs child, and sometimes it feels like it's just too difficult. It's not worth it. They don't feel like there's a place where they can go and be safe, and we want them to know that there is a place that they can go and be safe, and their child will be safe and cared for and loved and protected. And so we want to make it as easy for them as possible to come and be a part of the body of Christ, whether it's our church or another church.
Well, sure. Well, I tell you, Andy, I'd like to do everything I can to kind of highlight what you all are offering there at Western Avenue, and to make sure it gets into our news feed, and just kind of really see of what you offer, because again, it is we have a religious segment or whatnot to come back to talk about it, but it is again these ministries that are in our community, that are for our community, and we want people to know that there is a place, like you said, there's somebody who's not getting that witness, who's not having that family go out to a structured environment to hear about the gospel of Jesus Christ because of those apprehensions, real and come as you are. I can't. I mean, man, so that's gonna be ringing all day long. Yeah. So, well, that's good. And you all meet Sunday morning, but then you have an afternoon service.
Well, we just have two services Sunday morning. We have an 8:30 service, and then we have a Sunday school hour between there, and then at 11 o'clock is our second service.
Okay. And then I have Wednesday night.
Wednesday nights, yes.
Yes. And you all have this.
Go ahead.
You have a school because I've come out. Lori Harlan, who I know,
yes.
To one of the classes she invited me to. It's about a year ago on a Wednesday evening. I came out.
Yes.
I think it was a seniors, and that was. And I remember because I think I wrote you a note and said I was Wednesday night at Western Avenue. And there were 32 seniors on a Wednesday night, 6:30 in church.
Well,
seniors, not little kids who parents kind of forced them there. They didn't have any.
Yes.
No, these were kids. These were I say kids. They were seniors in high school, and I just thought, wow, I looked around the room, and I was so impressed because that's not always what our society is telling us.
Right.
We're hearing about all of the negative in our society and what's going on with young people and things going on. And here, this was happening middle of the week. Seniors in high school, they weren't skipping out, and they weren't being mischievous, and they were all, nobody's in there with their head put down or nothing. They were all actively participating.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Well, we're very blessed with our youth ministry. Laura, you mentioned Laura Harlan, and also Mark Collins. They lead that, and they do a great job. I mean, they make it fun. They do obviously wonderful fun activities, but they also they talk about real life issues, and they teach the Bible. And so they just we're so blessed to have them. And in fact, this week at our Joy Fest. I mentioned we're having a band. Well, our band is led by Mark Collins and also a group of our seniors as well. They're leading the music for.
So those Collins got a whole lot of talent.
Yes,
their dad, Danny Collins was my wrestling coach in middle school. Yes. I was not any good at wrestling, but he sure got me into shape. That's for sure. But then the other brother, Andrew, is a teacher at Statesville High School. So I'm there a couple days during the week. So he's down the hall and I see him. So the Collins family, great contributors to our community here very much. And so tell me then about the breakfast that happens.
The men's breakfast.
Did I miss it last month?
That's okay.
Because it was the same day of the pancakes.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, man, I got a membership to the Y, but I mean, what are you doing to me?
Yeah, well, that's been a blessing. What we do is we call it our Third Thursday Fellowship, and we meet the third Thursday of every month. At our church, and we have a group of men that cook breakfast, a whole team of men.
Yes,
and they do a great job. They get there at 5 o'clock in the morning. They start prepared, and then at 6:30 is when we start enjoying a meal together. And then at 7, we usually have a speaker every week just to come and share a devotional thought or testimony. And it started out, we had maybe 35 guys. The last month we were, I think, 82. So it's just grown.
I was there for that one.
It's just beautiful to see 82 men on a Thursday morning at 6:30 coming to have a time of fellowship and to hear the
and the
message.
Most impressive, and not that we want to get out, is that all this is done in an hour.
Yeah.
So everybody is out the door by 7 o'clock.
Yes.
I was impressed with that. Plus, I arrived there and I was impressed to walk into a room full of men at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday.
Yes.
And I'm looking around and I'm serving. I'm like, wow, taking this all in. It just real. And then I sat at a table with a couple guys. Watt, I think Harry Watt was one of the guys I sat at a table with, and it was great. And then I get a note from Tim Dearman. Sent me a note and said, hey, Brian, I saw you at our breakfast. And I said, I didn't see. He says, cause I was in the back cooking the sausage. He's gonna take credit for that one.
He's one of our cooks now.
Exactly.
Right,
he had to make sure he told me if he thought the breakfast was good, I was cooking it. But it was really good. It really was. It was really good. And the hospitality, I felt very comfortable. And then we had an awesome speaker.
Yes.
The gentleman, it still rings in my ears of what he said about his wife. That he said, I told her that she could never leave me, and he said, I'm not going anywhere. But that was just his testimony, and I still want to get him on the air because he gave a great story about his work with Billy Graham and the Billy Graham ministry and his interaction with growing Christian missionary work.
Yes.
All that set in, and I was taking it in that Thursday morning, sitting there. Man, I could have listened to him for another hour.
Right.
Just the wit, the humor, but also the humbleness of him. And so you all had a speaker. It was all
Bob
great.
Dennis.
Yes,
Yes,
Bob
yeah.
Dennis. So we're going to get you on here, Bob Dennis. You're going to have almost a whole hour on the radio just to come. I'm going to cut the mics loose and just let you talk. So, but how did that come about? The Third Thursday men's.
Well, we already had a men's ministry that does a lot of work. They do an amazing amount of work on weekends, going to widows in our community and building ramps. They even built a ramp at my mom's house, for her, and that's been a game changer for us. But they were already serving, and so we just thought, well, it'd be great to expand that and do something different, and just have a time where men can just come and just fellowship, and fellowship is such a key part of the Christian life, and sometimes we don't have those opportunities to do that. Sunday mornings can be so busy, everybody's going different directions, and so we just want a time we could get together with men, iron sharpen iron, and enjoy a meal together, and then have a
good meal,
a great meal. Yeah, I mean they're not just they're not doing Pop-Tarts, are they?
No,
it's
not
full,
at
man.
all.
It's
No,
bacon, eggs, sausage.
it is biscuit
man.
and gravy.
Yeah. And my only contribution is I go in the morning and I get the daylight donuts. That's all I can do. I can at least do that. So,
the daylight donuts. Oh my goodness! But I tell you, I strode right on by the table with that the donuts because I was there for the grits and the meal.
There you go.
And I have not had biscuits and gravy since I really moved back home. But I had it that Thursday morning, and it was really good. It was really good. And so and this is free.
Yeah, it's free.
It's free. I mean, again, the heart of what's happening there at Western Avenue at the church under Pastor Spry. Something is happening, and I think that you said a key point. Men need to get together. That fellowship, this conversation, it's important. And I think post COVID, I think that to be able to kind of break back out and get to some idea of normalcy, and then with the way things are just going on in our country. I think the country needs this. We need this. We need this. Families need this. We need this fellowship. We need the understanding. And so we're good. It's good stuff. So now the Joy Fest.
Yeah.
How many students did you have? The last one you did was pre-COVID, right?
Actually, we did one last year.
Last year. What was your number like for then?
Well, last year we had a max of 150 guests, which we filled up, and then then with volunteers, we had a couple hundred volunteers. It was a big night. So it was a.
Now I got one question. So I won't be able to be there on Friday.
Yeah.
But how can I get one of those mason jars with that cotton candy? Maybe not the ice cream because I realize.
Yeah. Well, we're actually not doing the jars themselves because of the possibly glass hazard on that. So Erica Goodnight, she's putting together like these like bowls and styrofoam bowls, and they're going to be elaborately designed from cotton candy. They're cotton candy sundaes.
So I expect to see pictures then.
Oh, we'll have pictures.
All right,
of course.
Okay, good
deal.
Because my first introduction to Mason's Sweet Shop up in North Iredell was from Mark Cash, and we were out doing some fellowship, and then we were visiting some brothers, and he stopped in there, and I had never been before, and he went in, and oh my goodness, he got a float that was huge. And I said, no, I don't. So that's going to clog the artery. He said, you must dial 911 now because we're not going to make it. But it's some good stuff. I was a wimp, and I just had vanilla ice cream in there with but he had the whole everything. And so when I ask about Mason Sweet Shop, I always think about them. And so we can have them on to kind of tell us how long they've been around and all that good stuff. So again, building bridges. They're in our community, Western Avenue, this Friday. Doors open at 5:30. It is you can special needs, families. If you just want to come by and say hi or be a support, say a prayer for this. Say a prayer for the families. These children, these kids are precious kids in our community. Let them know their love. Let's lift them up, and let's be encouraging to them. Tell them they're beautiful, they're handsome, and they got talents, and the world needs them. Well, the world needs them just to. I think being a dad. The joy I get, and I don't see my daughter every day. She's now grown at 25. But when I think about all of the things of being a dad, it brings joy and harmony, and I love my kids. So that's what we, I think, are really called to do. And your wife doing this with this ministry, and then with Western Avenue, again, meeting an unmet need. Come as you are. That is how we do it. So my guest this hour was Andy Lackey, assistant minister, is that right?
Associate pastor.
Associate pastor at Western Avenue Baptist Church. I know you have an awesome Christmas program. I've come for 2 years in a row. The outdoor activities is cold, but you all have all of the things together, the bonfires and the whole nine, and then the play you all did the year before last. I was outside at. It was awesome, and the food. So Western Avenue has really a lot to offer our community, as does a lot of churches, and so we're very glad to have you almost in our backyard here off of Museum Road, and so we're very appreciative. Again, my guest has been the Associate Minister Andy Lackey, and so if you're looking on Facebook, it is us, two handsome bald guys, and he's going to do some magic on a Friday night for the Joy Fest. Joy Fest 2023 right here in Statesville at Western Avenue Baptist Church. Doors open at 5:30. Stop by, come by, but most of all, say a prayer. Visit us. God bless you. God bless America. Pray for our kids. Keep them safe. Stop child abuse and neglect in America. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.